Shah, I don't think it's a surprise that PTPTN is lying on a huge debt pile, right? 40 billion ringgit, and this could even double by 2040. How on earth did it get this bad?
Okay, so if you look at the infographics that are presented in this week's Edge Weekly, it shows the percentage of those that are paying back and those that are not paying back.
Okay.
So at this point, 49% of borrowers are paying back, and they've either paid back completely, 26% have paid back completely, whereas the remaining are paying consistently. And that leaves with the remaining 51%, which are considered defaulters. And of this 51%, most of them are paying inconsistently, but 19% have never paid once. And this is where the problem lies, is that this huge chunk of borrowers are not paying back, or they've not paid back once, and this is contributing to the rising debt level of PTPTN. And this is something that PTPTN now realizes is a serious problem that they need to tackle. They can no longer just sit there and allow the debt to continue to rise up. And so they realize that there needs to be a change in the system, or just a complete overhaul in the model.
I was a borrower myself, and what I think is why people end up being defaulters is, they can't find jobs, hence they don't have salary. Do we just blame this, this whole culture of debt on the lack of employability, bad economy, or?
Speaking with one Saiful and others as well, that the general understanding is people are not earning enough, that's the biggest factor contributing to why people are not paying.
Okay.
Because it's not to say that all of them are not paying. There's 49% who are paying responsibly. They've paid all, or they are paying consistently. Whereas it's this 51%, especially the 19 who have never paid once, that needs immediate addressing. And one Saiful was saying that the problem with the 19% not having paid once is that they also don't come forward to PTPTN to tell them why they're not paying. And the thing is, PTPTN tries to make it as easy as possible to ease the burden of the borrowers. So they have various repayment incentives. They even offer loan restructuring.
Yeah.
But it's just that the borrower needs to come forward to PTPTN to tell them first. And if they don't do that, then the agency will not be able to help them. So they also need to take it upon themselves to take ownership of the fact that, okay, even if I cannot pay, but I should just go back to the government, perhaps he can assist me
negotiate.
further. Yeah.
One Saiful, he talked about overhauling PTPTN. What's the plan?
So what happened earlier this year was that there was a consultation sometime in May to June between PTPTN and various stakeholders involved. So for 1 month, after 1 month of consultation, they were presented with certain findings. In fact, the 49% and the 51% were presented in these findings as well. And I believe these findings were then presented to the Minister of Education, who then later on, I think in October or November in Parliament, said that he agrees that PTPTN can no longer sustain the way that it is, and it's high time for it to change its model to come up with something more sustainable. So the plan moving forward is that he's given his approval to have PTPTN come up with a new model, but that new model will be announced later in January next year.
Okay.
So PTPTN says that it has come up with a proposal of its own, which it will be giving to the government for its consideration.
So, here's the thing. When we look at other countries like New Zealand and Aussie, they have way better repayment rates, whereas here in Malaysia, like what you say, 51% end up not being able to pay. How can we actually manage this better?
In New Zealand and Australia, they have a fixed system where their tax code is linked to their income, so that once they start earning a certain threshold, so for example in New Zealand, if they earn above, I think about 47,000 annually, a certain percentage will be deducted from their pay. And that's just done seamlessly for them in New Zealand. And in Australia is the same as well. They have a certain threshold where the moment the borrower's income reaches a certain level, it gets automatically deducted. So that makes it easy for them because they don't have to worry about the process. The process is done seamlessly for them, and therefore that's why they can achieve a high repayment rate.
Okay.
Whereas here in Malaysia, I think we face issues such as like lack of enforcement, and also at the same time we have social issues such as low employability, and even if some people who have jobs but they're not earning enough. So these are some issues that also PTPN needs to address or find out why people cannot pay. But it's most likely due to the fact that people are not earning enough.
But again, besides PTPTN, right, what else needs to change? I think you mentioned something about the mindset.
So once I full stress on the point that there also needs to be a mindset change amongst Malaysians, especially Malaysian parents, on how we view PTPTN and how we view the concept of going to the government to take out loans. So the thing about PTPTN that I think many forget, which is what Wan Sabul was telling me, was that it's not just a place for you to go to take out loans. In fact, there's another big aspect of PTPTN that people forget, which is it's a place for you to save your money. PTPTN does three things. So it allows you to save your money, and it also offers loans, and it also needs to ensure that people pay back their loans. So savings is actually a big and important part of PTPTN as well, and that parents need to realize that it's important to save for your children's education, and you should aspire to save for your children's education so that you don't have to rely on like tertiary or alternative sources like the government, because then that would create to that level as well.
For more on the stories, pick up a copy of the Age Weekly at all good newsstands.